Now we get to my story. And my story, I first want to say I'm so sorry for taking so long to record this episode. There are a couple of reasons why. One, I had a lot of stuff going on at work, and because we have I work for the Harris County Clerk here in Houston, Texas, and we have a new county clerk that came in, and I got a couple of new responsibilities, and it seemed to take up a lot of the bandwidth of my brain, and so I really didn't have time when I came home or thought process to sit down to record one of these. But that doesn't mean I wasn't working hard on planning ahead for these. So I've got some really great interviews already in the can, ready to show you. I've been working on building more for upcoming episodes. And I think this summer is going to be tons of fun because you're going to learn and meet some really great guys. And there's some exciting events coming up that I'm going to be a part of. And I can't wait to share that with you. So I haven't been sitting on my laurels, as I say. I have been working towards making this a better experience for you and for the channel. But the other thing I want to tell you about is the Houston Fiber Festival. I live in Houston, and there is a Houston Fiber Festival. In fact, sorry, it is the 5th annual Houston Fiber Festival. It happened last weekend, or weekend before last, sorry. And I knew that I was going to go because Kat Bordy was going to be teaching at the Houston Fiber Festival. And she and I were talking when I found out, and I was like, oh my gosh, if you're going to be coming, then let me pick you up and take you to the airport. And she was like, okay, fine. And I thought about it for a couple of days, and I was like, wait, you're going to be teaching all day. You're going to need the respite after you've done teaching to just want to get in a car, go home, go to the hotel, not have to talk to anybody. And I knew, since we had been friends for so long, that I could give her that quiet space. So I offered to be her transportation while she was here. So I knew that I was going to be at the Fiber Festival because if I'm taking her to and from, I'm going to be there. I didn't record a video, of course. I wanted to try to get one out before that happened. I just didn't, and life was getting crazy, and I didn't plan on videoing any of the vendors because, and this is my own ignorance, I had looked at the vendor list and then gone to each and every website, that website's blog, their Facebook page. I did a lot of research on every vendor to see how many male vendors there were going to be for me to interview and bring to you. But there was only 2, one of which you've already met, Rancho Inca Alpacas, Mario and Bill. Great guys. It was great reconnecting with them. I kind of put that in the Facebook group, or the Facebook page. And then there's another one called Lost City Knits. Really great yarn, but he doesn't want to be on recorded, so I respect that. It's not for everybody, but he's a very professional man, and I don't know why he doesn't. I haven't pushed, but there were 2, as I said, and I'd already approached Lost City Knits in Dallas, and he had declined, so I wasn't going to press him this time, and he thanked me for that. But I knew kind of ahead of time that I wasn't going to, and I dragged my feet on approaching anybody to double check that. I mean, there were a couple of husband and wife teams, but the wife was the one prevalent on all of the media. So even though they mentioned a husband and wife, the husband wasn't anywhere in the outreach. So I thought there's really not much there. Fast forward to the week before, and it's just a couple of days before I'm supposed to pick Kat up from the airport. And I lost my voice. In fact, I'm still a little raspy from the whole experience. But I completely lost my voice. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get any videos going if I've got this going on. And I didn't know how long it would last. And so I went ahead and signed up for classes during the whole time. So I had a class, the whole show went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I took classes Friday morning, thought if my voice was okay, I could do some videos on Friday afternoon. And then I was in a class all day Saturday with Kat and all day Sunday with Kat. And little did I know that I wasn't going to have my voice for the entire weekend. So I thought, a very good decision to go ahead and take classes. But on that Friday afternoon, when I thought I was going to be videoing, I just took a lot of pictures and put them on Facebook and a couple on Instagram. But I wanted to go ahead and shop and see, what products appeal to me. And I found a bunch of them, made a few connections, and really wanted to talk about all of that. But before I do that, as I mentioned, I took classes. So the class I took on Friday morning was the class It's Reversible, Double-Ended Crochet, and it was put on by Anita Wilburn Darras, Darras. I'll put her name here. What it was essentially a variation on Tunisian crochet. And I already know how to Tunisian crochet. I showed you a project that I'm working on, that baby blanket. And I've taught a couple of Tunisian crochet classes, but when it said double-ended, I thought, well, it's got to be a Tunisian crochet concept, and it was. And so, let me get some of this away. It comes on either end. But it's kind of neat. So you can kind of see the yellow through the teal, and then the teal through the yellow. You can kind of see some of the yellow peeking through here, but there's not a lot of yellow peeking through here. So I got better as I progressed. And the same can't be said for the yellow, because the yellow seems to be going the whole way. You can see the teal through it. But I plan on getting better with this, because I can see like team colors, having a lot of fun with this, because when you stretch it apart, you really see both of them. So if you had an orange or a blue, and or red and white, whatever the color combination you have for your school, this would be a really neat thing to learn. And so I was very happy to know how to do this. It was a good class, and she gave us a lot of yarn in order to complete that, so I was very pleased with that. This was used with Red Heart Soft. I'll be honest, I'm not a Red Heart yarn person, because I like higher quality fiber, and but for an acrylic yarn, this really is not bad. What I really like about it is it doesn't split. It's got a really nice twist to it. So when you're working with it, it's not like Red Heart Super Saver or something, which is kind of splitty to me. And so I was very pleased to have been exposed to a value yarn like this that I might actually return to. So that was kind of the takeaway from that class that I'll share with you. I'm not a yarn snob, but I've learned that if you don't use a material or tools that you like working with, you're not going to work with them. You're just not. And I learned that a long time ago. So I have some expensive needles and I have some expensive yarn, but it's because it's beautiful, it speaks to me, and that's what I like to do. Okay, a little defensive, aren't I? The next class I took was, and I already knew how to do this, it was the Sweet Tomato Heel by Kat Bordy. If you're not familiar with this Sweet Tomato Heel, you've got to, and you're interested in making socks, or you make socks, and you really want to try a different variation on a short row back and forth. There are short rows, but you have no gaps. So you have no gaps. You knit everything in wedges, and I'm telling you, I knew I couldn't, in class I couldn't complete a whole adult sock, so I thought I'd make some baby booties for my new niece that's coming, and this yarn I thought was just great. So I finished the pair. But this yarn, and I'll show some detail of it here. Look at all the speckles are the same color as the other color. This is actually that Easy Knits yarn. I introduced you to John Dunbullum a few episodes ago, and this is his Easy Knits Plump yarn. And I'll go ahead and put some of that information here. This yarn is a dream, and these colors are exquisite. I thought they just looked so good together. So I'm going to be making some adult socks with this same yarn, and I'm super excited because this heel works out just perfect. But this is just a little baby booty rolled cuff, something fun. Of course, the baby will outgrow it crazy. But what I liked about this, is that the leg you can make it really wide so that it's super easy to get on the baby foot, and then there's just enough on this heel and the foot itself to keep it on. And of course, yarn grows a little bit, so they can grow with it a little bit. But I don't expect her to be able to wear this long. But that's why they're called heirlooms, aren't they? And I'm super excited about this, and I really love this yarn. So this is what I had used for Kat Bordy's Sweet Tomato Heel class. It was nice being able to fine tune my knowledge of that pattern and technique with her there and showing us variations. Really is great. In fact, if you ever know of a technique or something that you've learned, it doesn't hurt to go take a class from the person that designed it or the person that you like their design, because you're going to learn more. You can fine tune it, and I always enhance my experience, and I think you would as well. The next class we did on Sunday was her fingerless mittens, and I learned a bunch of variations on that. I'm still working on one, but I chose like a DK yarn. It's a very thin yarn. I'm not going to show it to you. I don't think it shows off the pattern as well, so I'm going to remake it. I'm going to rip that out, and I'm going to use a bigger, thicker yarn, something a little bit more like a light worsted or worsted. I think it'll look better, and then I'll show it to you then, because I think it's important to show you when it's optimal. So those were the classes that I took, and like I said, I was really glad that I did, because it allowed me to rest my voice for the most part. Kat embarrassed me a couple with both the Saturday and Sunday class, because she asked everybody, how many women in this audience, because it was just me and a bunch and all women, which is why this channel is called Man vs. Knitting, because in my world, this is what it is. And so she said, hey, anybody in the class have men in their life that knit? And on Saturday, like 7 women raised their hand, and Kat looks at me, she goes, Charles, jackpot. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is really cool. So she invited me to get up, and in my raspy voice, I told them about the men's knitting group, Fiber Men, that we have here. I actually created a website for Fiber Men. So if there's anybody in the Houston Metroplex area that wants to come and stitch with us, it's not just a knitting group. You can knit, crochet, needlepoint, cross stitch, quilt, as long as it's fiber related and it's portable, and you can talk while you do it, because it's all about fellowship and socializing, then come on down. But yes, it's super easy, fibermen.com. And but she allowed, so I told everybody about that, and then I told everybody about this channel as well. And so I got a little bit of good feedback, I think, from that, and gave everybody my contact information so that their guys, if they had any questions, could contact me. And then told them about the potential men's knitting retreat we'll have next year. It's still in the early planning phases, but I am planning on that, and I've been doing a lot of driving and location checks, phone calls, and emails back and forth. So I'm working diligently in that direction. Like I said, I'm not just sitting around, but there's a lot of details that need to be covered, and I want to make sure every T is crossed and I is dotted before I make the announcement. Next, we have what I would like to share with you again, like I said, is the products. And some of the products when I was looking at all the vendor list of all the people, some people's presentation stood out to me, and this young lady was one of them. The name of her company is Night Owl Fibers. Her name's Rachel Pausel, and her yarn colors I noted. I really was kind of attracted to her self-striping yarn. If you remember those socks I made, I like self-striping yarn. I like in fact, all my car knitting also is self-striping. But I like having the colors just sort of unfold so that I don't have to go back and forth and have a bunch of ends to weave in. And so I was attracted to her self-striping when it was on her website. But when I went into her booth, she had just so many great guy colors that I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And more importantly, she had guy products. So the one I'd like to share with you is this great little travel interchangeable bag. I showed you that case that I got from Gracie's Cases, and it has that zip out insert with interchangeables in the middle. That's great. But even it can be a little big if I just have a small little bag. So this one's great. She made it out of camo material, which I thought was so guy, with a neat orange, bright orange interior. Has a bright orange pocket, so super easy to see all your little accessories. And then in here she stitched, it's hard, but I'll get a little close up of the camera, but she stitched these little pockets for your interchangeables. And I think that is so clever, because sometimes I just need just a few of them, and I can put literally a cable needle in there, my darning needle in there, and a couple of other things, and they're all nice and neat and tucked away. And then I have this very flat, super lightweight, easy portable, very guy colored travel case for the latest whatever that project I'm working on. And I think this is just really handy. So I'm very excited that she had that, so I had to get one of those. She also had this really fun colorway. I like colors, but if you look at these, it's like blues, variations of blues with just bright things of color in them. So I'm really excited. This one's called the Umbrella Academy as the colorway, Klaus number 4. And the yarn itself, I apologize, is 75% merino and 25% nylon. And there's 437 yards, it's 100 grams. So I can easily I make short socks, so I can easily make a pair of short socks and then something else fun with the remainder. So that color was really nice. Then she also had this, which if you like demure socks, it's nice to have just little random bits of color in them. So if you look at this one that has this wonderful gray with these slashes of color through them, I just thought that was really neat, and I thought would knit up really well for socks. So I had to get that. But that was Night Owl Fibers. Oh, this one here, sorry, this color is called Space City, and actually this is 100% merino, so there's no nylon in this. But I really, really, really liked that. So that's from Night Owl Fibers. Next, you met, we didn't meet them, I didn't do an interview, but it's a woman, and her name is Diana Story. She's with Tumbleweed Yarn. I got that ladybug sock blank. She had painted it, and I went there, and of course, as soon as she saw me, she's like, hey, have you knitted that sock blank up? And I'm like, it's too cute to look at, I can't do it. But she was very much understandable, but she still wants to see what it looks like. So with the sweet tomato heel pretty much mastered, I'm going to be excited to make a bunch of socks. So of course I'll eat up that sock blank pretty quick. I'm excited to see how it knits up too. But she had also some self-striping yarns, really nice even blocks of color, and so this orange and blue. I have someone very special in my life who went to HBU, Houston Baptist University, and their colors are orange and blue. And so I thought this was a perfect little combination of that. And so those will be some fun socks to make. for him. Next one, though, got me the most excited. It was the end of the day because they had a booth at the very back of the vendor hall, and my voice was shot. And I was like, okay, I'll just look at this one booth, and they have a funny name, Chaotic Fibers, and it was an older couple, man and a woman, and the man was very interesting, so I wanted to introduce him, or interview him, but again, I didn't have a voice, and I didn't want to entertain telling him about it, so I just looked at the yarn, and there were some great guy colorways, and so I thought, this is really interesting. I was like, can you tell me more about this yarn company? Because there was a whole palette of yarn that just spoke to me. And she said, oh yeah, actually that's a father and son duo that makes that yarn. And I was like, you were talking my language. So we talked for a little while, and I had to buy the yarn. And so this is it. It's absolutely beautiful. Gorgeous colors. I'm going to give you your detail here. You can see all the greens and the browns, the light blue, and I mean just how it graduates in. And of course, this is from Meadowcroft Dye Works. Rehabilitation for the yarn bereft. So it's yarn.rehab is their website. And this colorway is called Porch Puddle. So, and it's presented in their Cross Creek sock. It's fingering weight, 428 meters, and 25% nylon and 75% superwash merino. So will be great sock yarn, or whatever I choose to make with this sock yarn. But the color and the naming of it, everything was so kind of neat. Cross Creek, Porch Puddle. I wanted to know more, so I contacted the company, and they got right back to me, and we had a really nice conversation. But it is a father and son team, and I'm going to be interviewing them soon, I hope. I'll just have to get out to where they are, and they have a very different experience than I do, where I taught myself how to knit, and I've been pretty much the lone guy in my huge city to be the most representative, I think. Then that it was very interesting when he told me that he learned from his father learned from his grandfather, who learned from his father. So you literally have 4 generations, 5 if you think about it, because one was skipped. No, I guess that's not true. 4 generations of men knitting. He said that, I asked him, I said, do the women knit? He goes, yeah, my mom kind of knows how, but she doesn't really do it that much. I thought, you have a very different experience than I do, and I'm really excited to one day bring you their story. But for right now, just suffice to say, the yarn is going to have to speak for it. But he sent me a picture of the inspiration for this colorway, Porch Puddle. He literally took a picture from water that was collecting on his porch and how it was reflecting the sky and the trees around. And I just thought that was great. So I kind of wanted to show that to you so that you could see the colorway and its inspiration. So that was very, very kind of them to do that. And I was excited to share that and their story. But that's about all the yarn that I got. Again, I've told you about the Fiberman website. And we've got a few new members, which is great, both on the Ravelry group and who've committed to coming and have joined the Facebook group, Fiberman. And so that's been nice. Well, it's a slow growth. I want it to be organic and get there because that's how relationships are built, right? Another thing I wanted to say is I wasn't feeling good at this yarn show, the Houston Fiber Fest, and 3 different women, one Friday, one Saturday, and one Sunday, each came up to me and said, "Hey, you've got that YouTube channel," and were super complimentary. Told me what they really liked about it, and that was sort of the feedback that I needed to jump right back into it. I didn't really know if everybody liked the format that I was using, if people liked what I was saying, what I was doing. That's how liking a video and maybe commenting that you like something gives me some feedback, because the YouTube algorithms don't really do that. So unless I hear it from you, I really don't know if what I'm doing is something that you like, or if you would like to see something different, or if you don't like something and you'd like it to be this way. I'm open to suggestion in a way, and but more importantly, this is my passion, so I'm gonna keep producing, particularly because of their kind words, but more because they helped me look inside and say, okay, what's driving me to bring this information to you? So I want to thank them and thank you for watching. And if you have the desire to do so, I invite you to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and because I'm telling you, some of these new interviews I've got coming up, you're gonna love it. But I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. All right, bye now.